Welcome back to another edition of Vikings Film Room, brought to you by the Vikings Entertainment Network. I'm your host, Pete Bercich. Well, the Minnesota Vikings are getting set to take on the NFC North Division champion Detroit Lions. It still just feels weird saying that. But this team's got some surprises in store, and they got some great players. So let's take a look at the film and find out what the Vikings are going to be up against this Sunday in Detroit. Now, when we take a look at the Detroit Lions, the first guy who stands out is this guy, Aiden Hudson. We knew he was good, but he's been extremely productive as of late. So what is he doing better? Well, one thing for sure is he's playing the run better. And I guess my point in bringing all this up, it's not just enough to be a great athlete and, to post all the great numbers. You have to be smart. And Aiden Hudson is a smart defender. How do we know that? Well, let's take a look at the film. You watch Aiden Hudson lined up here. He's kind of playing an outside linebacker role. You see him stand up in a two-point stance. But he's able to see his keys. And these are the keys that he has to be aware of. As this guy's off the ball, these two offensive players will be the first to attack him. So he has to see them both. Watch how he reacts to them. And this is the difference in his play. Once the ball is snapped, these two guys are going to go outside, and it's going to change his footwork and change his angle of attack, and it'll result in a great play. But watch Aiden. As soon as those guys walk out, he works to cross face against the first, defeats that first block, stays outside the tackle, beats a third blocker, and is able to be part of a TFL. If it takes three offensive players to block one defensive player, it's going to be a long day. So we saw Aiden Hudson in the run game. How about in the passing game? This is where awareness is a big part of it too. It's not just technique and height, weight, speed. In this case, watch what Aiden Hudson sees in front of him and keep an eye on the guard and the tackle and what they do. What's going to happen is when this ball is snapped, you're going to get a tackle that oversets the outside and a guard that works his way down. And what that does is it creates a lane underneath. These defensive ends don't normally have a two-way go because you don't want to lose contain. But when you have an oversetting tackle and a guard going the other way, you just take advantage of the space that's there. He works his way underneath, beats the tackle, comes up and gets the big sack. He is very, very good at reading offenses. Another feather in his cap is versatility. In this case, you're seeing him line up as a 3 technique, right? But the Lions are running a stunt on the outside, and his execution of the stunt is brilliant. Watch this. He's spiking and coming down, and when he comes down, because you have blitzers coming off the strong side, his job is to read this center. If the center works away, he's going to work in that A-gap. If the center stays in or works his way, he is then going to cross face. This center, though, is just doing the old backup, looking both ways, but Hutchinson knows he's going to treat it like he's coming his way. He works across his face. So he doesn't even know what gap he's taking until he can read what the center is doing. Makes it across face, keeps working, gets in the gap, beats them both, gets to the quarterback and makes the sack. The guy works well in stunts, too. So we know he's intelligent. We know he's a great athlete, but he's a technician too. The spin stunt, one of my favorites, but watch the execution of the spin stunt. This is classic. This is teaching film. You got a kid in high school, you want to teach him how to run the spin? This is exactly how you do it. The first thing you're gonna notice is his angle. His angle is upfield. He's directly upfield. He wants to do that to pull the tackle out. Puts the right hand out. He's saying, this is the bait. Right? I'm going to give you the chop and the rip, dip my shoulder. So this tackle thinks he knows what he's going to get. So he puts that out there. That's a false flag. But watch this. Arm goes down. But see that left arm? The left arm, his elbow is on the elbow of the offensive tackle. When he's able to bring that down in that position, this offensive tackle has zero chance to be able to pull his arm back and get anything on him as a pass blocker. At this moment, this is where he has him beat. That's the point. Elbow to elbow, exactly where he wants to be, comes off underneath, another big sack. So the guy can run, he's smart, he's a technician, he's a pretty good football player. Now, one of the things that stands out with these Detroit Lions is they're a gambling team, right? They're not afraid to gamble. What do I mean by that? Look at this example. This is 3rd and 13 with Dallas on the 8-yard line. Keep that in mind because we're going to show you exactly what happens here. What's Detroit doing? They have 6 guys that are going to blitz. This is a 0 blitz. You normally save this for the red zone because you don't need a free safety because he's going to be guarding the goalpost. Defenses do this on the opposite side of the field. They don't do it down here. Why? Well, let's just see. This is a huge gamble. Again, a big gamble defensively. Now, it works in that they have a free rusher to the quarterback in this linebacker right here. But again, zero blitz, what happens? Look at this. There is nothing and no one. If something goes wrong, it's going to be a huge disaster. Big risk, could be big reward, could have been a safety. But what happens when you gamble, sometimes you lose big. Free linebacker, doesn't make the tackle. Dak Prescott scrambles. Look at this, CeeDee Lamb finds a way, DB falls down. That is why there is nobody else in the screen, because Detroit took a huge gamble and it did not pay off. And this was a key moment of the game. So they're a risky bunch. They're not afraid to take a risk. Another example of the riskiness, we all know about the 2-point conversion. This is stuff that happened way earlier in the game. It's 4th and 2. Okay. Look where the football is. The ball is on the 27-yard line. If this fake does not work, if this play does not work, Dallas is already in field goal range. This is a huge risk. What they do, they move 2 wings over here. They're saying, all right, we're just going to run the fake right here, but watch the gunner. He turns into a wide receiver, throw and catch. But I'm telling you, man, you got to be on your toes with these Lions. Now, in our last game, just a few weeks ago against the Lions, we saw a lot of this guy, Jahmyr Gibbs, and we're going to see a lot of him again. And he continues to show why he was such a coveted running back. Watch how the Lions use him. When they have the number count right, these guys in their offensive line do a very good job of the combo blocking, but it's Gibbs really setting this thing up. When this tight end goes in motion, you get 2 linebackers that move, so you have eyes on the motion, not necessarily on the back, and that's important pre-snap because it kind of gets them out of position. The ball is snapped, you have double team here, but Gibbs's angle is to the outside, and what that's doing is pulling this linebacker to the front side. Because this guy moved himself out due to the motion, now you've got the double team to work up to the backside. Double team here, working up. They've got a hat for a hat. That's all Gibbs needs. That little gap, make a move on this guy. Rarely the first guy to him brings him down. But Gibbs is a very, very good running back, and their offensive line does a very good job running that zone. Now, we established that this team is risky, but they're also very creative. And this play is, in its own little way, a high-risk, high-reward situation. But watch what they do here. In this case, they are going to pull 3 offensive linemen. And normally in the NFL, when you pull guys this way, that's where the ball's going to go. That's what the linebackers are taught. Guys pull, you go that way. However, they are working here on the backside, and watch how they work this. Tight end going across, lineman pulling. They're using a wide receiver to come down here and seal on Jaron Kearse. The risk is this. If Jaron Kearse recognizes this and goes, nobody can block him. This is a TFL. They are counting on Kearse holding steady, not going with everything else. Everybody else is pulled out this way. The wide receiver is able to jump in, get a block on Kearse, but they get creative. They're not just risky, they get creative too. We talked about Jahmyr Gibbs already, but how about David Montgomery? David Montgomery's just a little bit different, a little bit more of a patient runner. And we're going to see on this play, Dallas has got the wide look going out here, right? You got a defensive end, linebacker tackle outside here, and another guy outside even further than that. So the Lions are going to try to take advantage of this. How? They're going to pull Penei Sewell. This is a big man who has a long way to go. The running back is offset. They're going to pull him 15 yards to kick out. So what does that mean? That means Montgomery's got to be patient. Take the handoff. He's just waiting for this block to develop. The tackle gets up on the linebacker, and now Montgomery has a 2-way go. So it's a very, very long developing, patient type of a running game with Montgomery. Cut back, first guy to him doesn't bring him down very often either. So a good running back duo. Another example of creativity in the running game. This is a different type of a look that Dallas is giving the Lions. What you see here, you have 2 defensive linemen. They are way out wide. They're 5 yards apart. Now they put Micah Parsons in the middle to say, okay, you've kind of got these gaps in here, but with the way the Lions combo this thing, it ends up being a big play. How do they go about doing that? Well, they get the cutoff on the backside, you get the double team right here, and everybody else is fanning out. But watch what Parsons does. Parsons takes the easy route here and tries to backdoor this, getting himself out of position. You have plenty of blockers, receivers doing a great job. Not only are they gamblers, but they also are very innovative and how they attack a defensive front. So to beat these Lions in the regular season finale, you got to know what you're up against. This is a risky team. They gamble. They're very, very talented, and they're also very, very creative. So you got to find a way to stop Hutchinson and then that Gibbs-Montgomery running back duo. You do that, you got yourself a fighting chance.